Rather disappointing evening here, 3-0 defeat to Folkestone Invicta. What are your thoughts after that one?
Listen, it is disappointing to lose at home, Ollie, especially sort of coming back. It's the first home game we've had since I've sort of, been looking after the team. But it just boils down to one thing. It just boils down to mentality and underbelly, because I think you've seen again here today, especially on the back of the Dartford defeat, we've actually really worked hard and stayed in the game at right areas, and I thought even some of our football was really good. We seemed to get in really good areas and just not enough aggression in the final third. And then I just think defensively as well, we just got a really, really soft underbelly. Right up until they scored, I thought we were doing really well. The game was quite open. I thought we were doing really well. And then we tell them all about the set piece and they switch off again. Ball round the back post, looping header into the far stick, and it's 1-0 down. And you think, we've just been punched on the chin again. Exactly the same as Dartford. And then we made another go of it. We had a real good go, got in at 1-0 at half-time. We lost 2 players on the way. So we lose Ruben Shakpo and we lost Luke Allen. But we still, with what we put on, we still went out there and with discipline and kept trying to work hard, and I can't fault the boys for that. I really can't fault the boys for that. I think in the games that we've had, they've really given us an honest shift. But we are where we are for a reason. You've seen 2 teams. You've seen Folkestone tonight and Dartford Saturday. That, if I'm being honest and truthful with you, they haven't played us off the park. I don't think any team since we've been here has played us off the park. I don't think we got played off the park at St Albans. Obviously, we went to Ramsgate and 1 or 2 other games. Probably Brentwood's, I'd have said, probably got played off the park. But these other games, I think we've been in it. But if you haven't got that killer instinct and people want to make it happen, and you ain't got players that love defending and want to keep the ball out the back of the net, including the keeper, that's where your issues are. So I think if we'd have had a little bit more structure defensively, obviously, I think we're in desperate need for a right back. I'm not knocking Youngie, who played there tonight, but same again, we got out so many times that we could have hurt him. But he's not, he's a right-sided centre half. But we've had to piece ourselves together. New debut tonight as well in the back line, and that's just been how it is. And I don't think there's any major individual errors, but collectively we can't put teams to bed when we're on top, and we're always going to be open, and obviously we've got that weak mentality that we don't keep the ball out the net. And what was really disappointing yet again, same as Saturday, if John hits the target inside the box, that's just one opportunity I'm talking about, that makes the game 1-1 again, and then we end up sticking it in the trees. And that's the true story between where we are and where the club's in desperate need to try and turn it around.
It's a bit of a gap emerging at the bottom there. Obviously, it's relatively early stage of the season, but how worrying is that at this stage, that there is a gap now appearing? And 41 players we got through now, early November. What fixes this? What arrests this slide, and what closes that gap to change this?
Good question, Ollie. I think this time of the season it's very tough to get in right players, especially when you're trying to work on a budget that we've tried to shrink since I come in as an interim manager. We're trying to work on tighter restraints. Then we've had a lot of players here that have put on sort of good contracts, and they're not easy to move about, so the money's tied up, so that's very difficult as well. But when you look at the opposition we've had to play since we come in, and I was saying this, I think I was saying it earlier, when you look at the games we had to play, I think we went away to Royston in the first game, which we didn't know much about them, but that was a tough fixture, but we had a good result. We've had and tell me if I make a mistake and miss anybody out, but I think now we've also played St Albans away, I think we've played Dartford away, we've played Brentwood away, we've played Ramsgate away. Did I say St Albans in that one? Yeah, St Albans. And who else we played? No, I'm not worried about that one. That's a cup game. Don't be disrespectful, but no, this is what you have to worry about, tonight's game. And then you come home and you get Folkestone Invicta. And when I look back and I actually think when I was asked to come in and help on the Friday night, close to midnight, to come over and help Royston, I didn't really look at what was what, and I haven't really done since I've been here. It's just about, we've got these games, we've got to fulfil them and get them out of the way. But so we played some really, really, really tough opposition. You just mentioned there's 41 players that's been signed. Well, we ain't got a squad of 41, so there's been a lot of movement. I haven't come in and got rid of 25 players. It's just been, I think, this is just really, it's just an extension to where your season's been. And I just think it's not started, you've already got through one manager. I only come in as an interim manager. And I've done it for trying to help the club, not for my own game in any way, shape or form. We'll probably move on to that in a minute. But yeah, seriously, at the minute, I think, looking at that defensive duties, a lot of them have got to sort of stand up to it. And when you look at Folkestone tonight, I didn't think they were great. I'm not knocking Jay's team, but they were very effective. They played when they can, but they won their battles. They're quite physical. They put the ball in right areas. They've got good movement like Dartford did up front. And when they get in there, you just think they're always going to affect the goal. We don't ever look like affecting the goal. And I think a lot of that, we don't talk. There's not enough partnerships. It's all off the cuff. And it's tough. And all we can do on the sidelines is keep trying to, trying to sort of get them to do more. And trying to sort of give us an honest performance. And they've done that. But the bottom line is, at the moment, unless it's going to take some wholesale changes, and that means, if people are going to leave the club that are on contract, which ain't easy to do, if it needs wholesale changes, then you might be able to go and find a few more better players than what we've got. But certainly defensively, there's 2 or 3 holes in there that need to be strengthened. I thought the little left back done all right for us tonight, young lad, coming from Gillingham, and we've got some other young lads here, but the senior players have got to be better than what they are here as well. But as I say, I stand here, and for Endeavour, I just said to him now, I can't fault you. But the bottom line is we've lost again tonight, when really I don't think 3-0 was a fair reflection of the game. Finally,
we talked briefly there about the interim tag, and we updated it a little bit a couple of weeks ago when we last spoke about this, but obviously the advert's gone out today. Is there a bit of a firm plan in place? Are you involved in that plan, and what is the plan?
Well, the plan was what it is when we picked the game up at Royston. It wasn't something that I was looking to do and come back into, coming back to Welling as a manager. But as I said, I've got some good affiliation to the club. Got a lot of time for Howard and Lisa, who they're friends of mine. And to be honest and truthful, I've got a lot of supporters here that I've got a lot of time for and a lot of love for. Yes, there's some that, can blame it all down to me again if that's what they want. And that's just standard in life with social media like it is. And I said to Howard last week, I said, Howard, listen, I'm not here for the long term. I do feel as the games are rolling on, we need to sort of see what's out there. And I did say to him, and it's my suggestion to say to him, we need to have a process. You need to have a process. I said, I won't run away. I will keep doing what I can every week until, we actually get the right person in for the job. And that is all my worries. I'm not saying, have I lost my Midas touch? Have I lost this? I ain't being funny. I'm trying to push shit uphill at the minute. Because, you're in a tough league. I think this league's been tougher than it's ever been. And we're working with a team that's so disjointed, and it just wasn't put together right in the first place. And now, unfortunately, we can see that in our results. And I just feel it was right that if we, go out there and say that, there's a manager's job up for grabs, and it's already showing from what I'm hearing. There's some really good candidates, yeah? And I think that's what it needs. It needs a real fresh start. Al's done amazing things for this club that really hurts me and concerns me when people want to slate him off and that, because, listen, he has done everything he can to keep this club going financially. And as I say, now Paul Barnes has come in. to bring some different ideas into the club and try and work that way. And I think some of the board are now stepping up to try and sort of galvanise, what's going on around the club. And I think the process of getting some good candidates in that want to do the job. I didn't come back here to want to be here till the end of the season. And I didn't want to say that at the start because it's just so negative. But I just said we take each game as it comes. And now I'm getting closer to, now it's gone out, there's going to be interviews, done. And I'm sure the good thing about doing it this week is that next week you got a free week. So it gives whoever the chance to come in. We have got some 7-dayers out there as well in one or two areas that are going to be better than what we've got. But we've got to be careful. Does the new manager want to do that? But I think there's one or two areas that we're desperate for, even before Saturday, if I'm being honest. So, listen, I'll do whatever the club wants us to do. As I said, I'm here for the right reasons. I'm not here to try and put myself back in the manager's role. Never. It's not something that I look to do when I took the Royston game. It's not something I look to do now. So I haven't even asked for it, and I haven't even been offered it. As far as I'm concerned, we had a deal when I come in, and that was to try and help us week per week, and that's what we've done. So I'll be here Saturday, because Saturday, I said tonight, this is a big game, but Saturday is a must-win. Saturday is a massive, massive game for this football club, and I'd love to try and get a result, and then at least I'm handing it over with 6 points since I got on, rather than 3. We've took a few injuries tonight, so we're back to the drawing board, and tough times don't last, but tough people do. And I think that's the situation that football clubs got to look at now. Whoever comes in, you've got to fight on your hands, but hopefully the right person is prepared to try and get this club higher up the table.
Cheers, Rod. We'll see you Saturday.
Cheers.